When you retire, you may get a chance to go to football heaven. This is football heaven.
Hey guys, welcome to The Mission. I'm your host, Jameer Howerton, and we got a great show for you today, as always. And we have a first-timer to The Mission. Joining us from Miami, man, we're talking Miami Dolphins legend, a finalist for this year's class of the 2022 Pro Football Hall of Fame. Joining us right here is Mr. Zach Thomas. Zach, welcome to The Mission, sir.
Hey, Jameer, thanks for having me.
Man, I am so blessed to talk to you today. Before we jump in, I just noticed the awards behind you. Tell us about those awards.
You know what? A lot of this is Texas Tech.
Well, I'm talking about those two statues. I'm talking about those statues to the right and the left.
Marino. Oh, those are great. This is the MVP award. I got it a few times. That's the Dan Marino Award, and the other's the Leadership Award with Don Shula on it. So, yes, and I think this is the MVP as well.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, Zach, congratulations. You know, when you received the news that you're a finalist for this year's class of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, what does that mean to you, sir?
It means that I won already. And I'm not saying that, I'm going to get inducted. I'm saying just to be in the conversation and with all these greats, I won. I mean, if you know my story, Jameer, it didn't come easy for me. I come from a small town in Texas. I mean, it's out in the middle of nowhere. And, I was a kid that was undersized, under everything. I was a slow learner, not exaggerating. I got held back before I even got to kindergarten. You can laugh at that one, Jameer.
No, I'm not going to laugh.
So I always had to work hard to try not to be embarrassed in class and to overcome all those. I'm proud, but I wasn't self-made, and it all starts with my parents. They gave me every opportunity to be great at whatever I wanted to do. And also with my coaches, I got lucky. I got lucky with a high school coach. You know about all that with the coaching. I mean, a high school coach named Max Plunks taught me a read that was different than everybody else. Not everybody, but most NFL linebackers and linebackers in general. And I used it all the way to the end of my career. And it got me labeled as instinctive, as a smart player, the guy that, the slow learner. So it was all from coaching. And if I didn't ever run into him, I wouldn't have been that great. But the good teammates I had around me as well. I mean, I'd be here all day telling you about them and how grateful I am for them, because they did all the dirty work, especially the defensive line, and I just cleaned it up.
Well, I definitely want to go back to 1996, that 5th round. Take us back to that day when you were drafted by the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, you know what? I was just wanting to get drafted, get in the window to get a chance, because, I wasn't all that talked about. Even though I was All-American twice, they all said I was undersized. And, I watched 18 other linebackers, Jameer, go ahead of me. And it motivated me when I made it in the NFL, because I reminded myself, each one of those guys, even when I got comfortable, I always made myself uncomfortable. And I'd always, had that chip on my shoulder. And I could probably name every one of those 18 guys, even today. But it was a good class. It really was a good class of linebackers. But it was just joy. I knew if I got in the window and got a chance that I didn't know I'd be here today talking about this, but I knew if I got in the window, I'd have a chance to make the team. I was going to do whatever it takes.
What was it like when you walked in that Dolphins locker room for the first time, when you had that rookie mini camp, when everybody was together and then you saw some of the vets? What was that energy like? And to add to that, who was that player, that elder player that grabbed you and said, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna take you under my wing"?
Oh, man. Well, first going in, I was Dan Marino. I mean, everybody knows Dan Marino. It wasn't just from Ace Ventura, he was the man. And but the guy that took me under his wing was Trace Armstrong. He was a real pro of the game. He taught me everything on how to prepare. I owe a lot to him. I mean, it was also investing my money. I did everything. They nicknamed me the baby elephant because I was always connected to his hip. Everywhere he'd go and stop, I'd stop. I'd be right at his hip. But I knew that great players leave, great clues. And I knew if I was going to be able to make it, I had to learn from a guy that's been doing it and doing it the right way. I mean, that was just awesome of him to take me in. He took Larry Izzo in as well, and we learned.
What was it like meeting Don Shula for the first time?
He's a legend. Don, he has that presence in a room. Not many have that presence when they walk into a room. I was with Jimmy his first year, but I missed out on with Don. But I know when Don came around, most winningest coach, he had that presence like Jimmy Johnson had, Pat Riley. Those guys have that presence that, when he speaks, you listen, man. He was awesome. I would have loved to play for him too.
You still felt the lure of just seeing him on game day, riding around in the golf cart, like, oh, that's the Don right there.
Yeah, that's the Don. When you can just
that's the Don. That's the
golf cart around.
Yeah, you see him around. I mean, I don't care. It's like he's not coaching no more, but he's coaching.
Yes, sir.
When you think of the values of the game, courage, respect, honesty, discipline, and I'm going on and on, but like, what is that one value that you would say that you took away from the game, Zach, that you carry with you in your life today?
That's good. I think the main value would be just being a great teammate, man. I feel like that was what's most important to me, because I really believe, and you can disagree with a lot of teammates and different things, but when it came to my prep during the week and playing on game day, I had your back, you had mine. And there's not all guys are that way, but a lot of guys are. But, I wouldn't want to be the guy that's all about himself. I was about the team. And I feel like that was more important to me than anything. Because it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're all about yourself, nobody respects you. And I feel like respect was number one for my game. And that's why I could go back and maybe you can find one that said I wasn't a good teammate, but it'd be hard to do because I really believe on high school level to college to pro, that was one thing that's most important to me, is just being a good teammate, man.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Zach. I just remember, those slogans, trust that, walking in the Cleveland Browns, just the locker room, do your job and trust that the man next to you is doing his. These little football slogans kind of still stick with me today, even though I was in the front office. It's hard not to wear off on you because at the end of the day, you are part of that team. That's amazing. That's amazing. Zach, I want to switch gears a bit. I know we talked about the foundation, but I want to get your top 5 football moments. I know you spoke very, very deeply about being a teammate, respect, but let's translate that now to the field and talk about those 5 Zach Thomas's top 5 football moments.
Okay, I'm gonna go all the way back to high school. I was a freshman in high school in a small town, and we won state. And we didn't have the most talented team, but I was starting linebacker on defense, and we went to state and beat a team called Flatonia, and they were more talented than us, and we won by a swinging gate, man. I was 14-13. It was the craziest game ever, but it motivated me, and it also taught me how to be a good teammate. That's where it started, because there was a lot of seniors in that class that were unselfish. My brother was the quarterback. He was, our all-star. But I'll tell you what, man, that was fun. That's a moment for you. If I go to my second, would be some at Texas Tech College. Texas A&M, man, they dominated the Southwest Conference back in those days. I mean, it was leather helmet days, but they won like 4 years straight Southwest Conference games. And my senior year, we had them 7-7 at home, 39 seconds left. I had Leland McElroy, man to man, and I read Corey Pulick's eyes, and I picked it and I took it to the house. And that right there put me on the map. I feel like that got me recognized. And, so that's definitely one. You talked about the draft, just getting in there in 1996. That's another one. That's for sure. And then my rookie year, just even before one snap, I just remember the national anthem. And I'd beaten out Jack Del Rio in the preseason. I was started 14, and I'm thinking of that national anthem, and I feel like it's yesterday. And I just knew right then that, man, I have this moment, and I'm going to take advantage of it. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional about it.
No, that's real.
But it was real. It was real. I had tears coming down my eyes, and I just said, man, I made it. And that was special. And I knew I wasn't going to take that for granted. And then, oh man, I would say the Pro Bowl, it took me to my fourth year to get to the Pro Bowl, even though my third year was probably my best in my career. My rookie year was good. But the Pro Bowl, just to be out there with all the greats and the all-stars, man, just sitting by the pool, having Mai Tais. I remember the night before the first game I played in the Pro Bowl, I was sitting there with John Lynch, Junior Seau, talking football to the early hours, drinking Mai Tais, having a good time. And so they were worried about me, saying, hey, Zach, we want to make sure you wake up in the morning to get that bus to the game. And I'm like, all right, man. And they said, what's your room number? So I'm walking back to the room like, these guys are the best guys ever, man. They're worried about me, and they're legends of the game. And so the next morning when I'm checking out, I noticed they put every drink and every food on my room number. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, oh, Junior got me. Buddy got me. Buddy always talked in third person, man. That's my man. So they got me. So, but that's priceless, the memories that you have there at the Pro Bowl and the following years sitting out there with Peyton, and he probably taking notes while we're all talking football, But it was awesome time. And those are, that was 5, right?
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Those are some top moments. Those are some top moments. Now I got to get your top 5 players, your top 5 favorite players that you watched growing up.
Well, number 1 is my brother. He was an all-star at everything. He's good at basketball, football, track, everything. And so, I mean, his vertical, Jameer, was 40 and a half. Mine was 28 and a half. Like, I didn't even touch opening height at the combine, man. I was like,
how tall was that? Now, what's his name?
His name is Bart Thomas.
Bart Thomas. So how tall was Bart?
He's 6'2" and a half, 6'3".
Okay.
I don't know what happened to me, man.
He was jumping out the gym.
Oh, he could jump, man. And so he motivated me. He was definitely one of them. Junior Seau, who I talked about, I mean, he was just a physical freak. And in college, I had his picture up above my bed. He's signed. I got a signed poster. And but he was a physical freak, and I got to play with him for 2 years. The guy would play downhill, but there was not a guy that loved the game more than Junior. And he played with one speed, even in practice. But his anticipation was the best ever. I was always about anticipation. And, but he couldn't compete with Junior, man. He was shooting that gap, man. He would tell the lineman Apple if he was going in the A gap. And he'd be like, Junior, blitzing on this one? And he'd like, baby on the B gap. Like when he would go though, he would make something happen. And so the coaches in the film room would be like, okay, all right, next play, good play, Junior. He was amazing like that. He'd get this feel and he's like, I'm gone. But
wow.
But where am I at now? Okay, with players.
Yeah. So we got your brother. No. I love this, man. You got your brother, Bart Thomas. You got Junior Seau, and now we're number 3 now.
Gotta go with Mike Singletary, another leader. Trace Armstrong told me a bunch of stories of his, and just his wide-eyed, before the snap. That pre-snap's when I won. And so I felt like this guy was reading something. He's just making plays, and he was a great guy overall. I heard he was a good teammate.
Yes.
He would be one. Deion Sanders, I always loved Deion just because he was a playmaker, man. And he talked it, but backed it. And that's what I love about Deion. And oh, man, in the 80s and 90s, I probably should go with either Michael Jordan or Mike Tyson. Any of the Mikes, man. Michael Jordan, he's the most athletic, but I still love the bobbing and weaving when Mike Tyson was at his prime. Oh, my God. I feel like that helped motivate me on the football field. He wasn't scared of anything, and neither was I. But back to Jordan, he would be my, I mean, everybody knows Jordan. I mean, that's amazing. Yeah. So I don't have to explain.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And lastly, on the top fives, I got to get your top 5 toughest opponents.
Oh. There's a lot of guys that were tough, man. Oh man, I probably got like a top 30, but I'll tell you, definitely from the start, I'll give linemen some love. Kevin Mawai, I mean, the guy was the quarterback of the offense, man, and he was a great leader. But I was always big on alignment, Jameer, so to keep guys from getting clean shots of me. And well, Kevin could pull behind the line of scrimmage and meet me in the alley, what they call outside the tackle there, the alley. And it's hard to pull around full speed and be in front of a running back and get turned square. Usually I could throw guys if they ever tried that. Damani Dawson was good at it too. But Kevin could meet me around there, and he threw me out of the club a few times, man. And he's probably one of the reasons that I'm not in first ballot, in the Hall of Fame. But he was a heck of a player, man, that you would want as a teammate, and he's one of them. Another guy that's a center for the Colts, most underrated guy on that team, or in the NFL, more like, was Jeff Saturday. The guy, he didn't look the part. He looked like me, small, but guy had great footwork, man, and he could get out to that second level. But he had all those all-stars there on offense that, pretty much, from Edgerrin, what a offense they had with Marvin Harrison and then Peyton. So you got to put Peyton in there for sure, because he's my number 3. None of these in order. But Peyton, it was like a chess match, man. His pre-snap was awesome. I always loved playing on the road than at home, because you could mess with him a little bit by sliding your defense to what he had checks, and we went back and forth and things like that. And I just loved hearing his cadence, his play calling. I mean, that's a thing of work, man. But he was, Peyton, don't have to say much about him, man. He was great, but those are fun. Had many times we played and battled each other. And we had plenty of stories at the pool to talk, but the other would be Tom Brady. I mean, he's the greatest, played the game. As a defender, I always hated him so comfortable back there in the pocket, man. It's like he's, on the couch going through his reads. It was, you hate that as a defender, man. I hated it so much. And you want to hate Tom Brady. You just want to hate him, but he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
You can't, man. It's like he's so good for the game. And for him to win as many Super Bowls or even get there, I know how hard it is. I never got there. Is awesome to be able to play against him and his pre-snap. I mean, our game plan going in versus Brady and Breeze to Peyton was, we're not blitzing, because they're going to read it. They're going to eat you alive in the slot. So we're going to try to get our front 4, we had a good front 4 at the time with Jason Taylor, Trace Armstrong, a lot of great pass rushers.
Right.
We could get pressure with 4-man, and we just try to go with the bend, but don't break. But those type of guys, like, they gave us fits, but we did not want to beat ourselves by trying to blitz them. I don't know what some people still doing it today. They still hadn't learned. The guys, 58 years old, but then I mentioned Breeze. Breeze would be one. I mean, there was a lineman that I didn't play him enough, that Tom Nalen, but I would put Drew Brees in there because he's another guy, not the part. And I always cheer for those guys, man, because I knew he had to outwork people, and he was so accurate. And we missed out on him twice with the Dolphins. So, unbelievable.
You know, unfortunately, this year we lost a legend and head coach John. Excuse me. We lost a legend in John Madden. And your thoughts on what Madden meant to the game of football?
Well, I mean, John, he impacted me as a kid, you know, when he's doing the broadcast, and this is before I even learned football, he would explain it, you know, on the monitor, and he would circle Larry Allen, you know, and he'd say, look at this guy. He loved those old school guys that played hard, especially offensive line. And he's like, look at this Larry Allen, and pulling in the power and knocking out, and he boom, you know, like that right there, that message. I mean, how he relayed that is a gift to not only myself as a kid, but other fans and people watching that don't know football. But when he started that, that was like all we do in the meeting rooms. And that's when I was, man, I really enjoy this. And when I finally got to the room to meet John, he's big. I mean, I didn't know he's going to be this big. He's a big boy. And he definitely had that presence that we talked about earlier. Definitely had that presence. And when he spoke, man, everybody listened, had a great sense of humor. And so when we would do meetings before games, he always saw me, because on some of the broadcasts they had played for me, he loved me. He said, he circled, this Zach Thomas is a football player, and he loved that. He told me I could play in any era. And I thought that is the biggest compliment ever coming from him. He didn't like it when I told him on my pregame ritual that I showered and shaved before games. He wanted me to have that beard and, you know, maybe icicles hanging off, you know, you know, it was just that mean look, the Jack Youngblood look, you know, the Dick Butkus look, because he saw me as a throwback. And so, you know, he did give me fits about that, I remember, but he is definitely an icon that's missed.
Zach, I got to follow up with that. So you showered and shaved before you played the game. What did that do for you?
Yeah, it was a cold shower, man, just to wake up my body.
Okay.
And it meant something to me shaving. So when I go out to dinner, you know, get all cleaned up, I'm going to get cleaned up for the game because it means something to me, man. I'm telling you, it was just something up here, and it started in college. And I like to take the cold shower to be like, wake up, let's go. It didn't matter if it was 20 degrees in Buffalo, feels like -10. I'm taking my cold shower and I'm going to shave because, you know, it might have been a superstitious thing, but John called me out on it for sure.
Zach, before we let you go, man, when I look back and I read and I did my homework, but I look at this illustrious career, do you feel like you left everything out there on the field, sir?
I did. I mean, I feel I got the best out of myself. I put a lot of hard work and sacrifice, countless hours, not just in the film room, but practice field. I always look for that edge and just to get the best out of myself, because I knew it was a small window of time that football players have. And, you know, they always mention NFL stands for not for long. It's true. Even if you go 13 years like I did, it went by like that. And I never want to take that for granted. And that's why I don't coach today. It'd be my favorite job. But I told my wife at the time when I was playing, like, I'm all in, man. I'm all in. But when I'm done, I'm all out. And so I promised her. And so I missed the game so much, but I feel like that got the best out of me because I won before I got on the field. And it was all from, you know, my film work, mastering that, my notes I took. I had notes on offensive coordinators Even if they changed teams, I would go back and check some notes on certain down and distance to help me. And it might not have helped me, but on the field when I was there, it helped my confidence. And so it helped.
Fins Nation, your guy, finalist for this year's class of 2022, Mr. Zach Thomas, joined us right here on The Mission. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jameer.